Woo! Woo! Look, I just been keeping my poise. Made by the million, but still unemployed. They text me about green, but not on Android. She not my shawty, she filling the void. I make the sounds that cut through the noise. He think he a man, but he chillin' with boys. Put down the liquor, start drinking LaCroix. The pain wasn't choice, but now I rejoice. My uncle had told me that I was the one. I played that shit smart, now my bragging and dumb. Lil' shawty had hit me, said she wanna come. Her dress is just black, but she not a nun. I'm so Pasadena, cause that's where I'm from. Some bangers, some hoes, them with guns. They scheming for riches, they playing it numb. I'm second to wins, cause I'm second to none. Look, what the you think I do it for? Do it for? Ay, looking in the mirror, you the go, ay. I've been out here grinding 24. So in the mirror, you the go, ay.
Hey, family, welcome back, man. You know it when a guest is so good, we have to run it back. Yes, it is one of those episodes. Cousins, welcome back to Secure the Bag, the podcast where four entrepreneurial cousins chop it up about legacy, ownership, and making your money move with purpose. Today, we've got a returning guest who brought so much game the first time that people demanded more, and we don't blame them. Sony is back in the building. You already know the story. Built his first business at 16, became a licensed commodity broker by 22, and has been stacking wins across real estate, capital markets, luxury services, and global hospitality ever since. With 24 years of real estate experience, 200 transactions under his belt, Sony isn't just in the game, he's shaping it. This time around, we're getting laser focused. We're talking about real estate investing in Toledo, Ohio, a market that's slept on by many, but not by Sony. We're breaking down the strategy, the numbers, the mindset, and why Toledo might just be your next best move. So if you're looking to invest smart, build steady cash flow, and make big plays in overlooked cities, this one's for you. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the bag, Sony.
Thank you for having me again.
Sony, what's up, brother?
I'm good, Jay. What's going on? It's a good
I'm
day.
blessed,
Great.
brother. Oh, man.
Brother King, what's up, man? Sonny, man, so tell us, man, the last time we spoke, we talked on the money map, but what happened on your trip? Just give us a little background on you and the wifey's little trip out there. What was it, Dallas?
Yeah, that was in Dallas.
Okay, how was that?
Man, it was fantastic. It was a vibe. Again, my wife is a genius branding and brand protector, and she also has an events company. So we had the pleasure of assisting one of her clients in his wedding weekend. It was a phenomenal weekend, and I can't say enough about it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Go.
Man, so today the topic is the investing in Toledo, my brother. So first tell us, why did you choose Toledo, Ohio as one of your main markets to focus on, brother?
To answer that question, I said how, man, we've heard it before, but I'll say it again. I didn't choose Toledo. Toledo chose me.
Fire. But okay, but why though? I mean, yes, Toledo chose you, but why do you feel like it chose you? What about Sonny said? You know what, Sonny, I'm gonna pick you, my brother. You the one. Why?
Okay, so I live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and one of my companies is a funding company that I do creative financing in. And people will come to me and say, "Hey, Sony, I need some money because I'm going to expand my business. I need some money because I'm going to, get some inventory. I need some money because I'm going to, do some real estate plays." And so I specialize in getting anybody using their credit and their business credit anywhere between $50,000 and $250,000 in available financing without collateral. So I had a gentleman came to me and he said, "Hey, Sony, someone sent me to you, said you're the guy, you can work it out for me. I need some money." And so at the time, I was living in Fort Lauderdale, but I was investing. I was flipping cribs in Orlando, Florida. I had a flipper, a wholesaler who was giving me property at 80,000 consistently, but they were worth 140, 150, 160. So what I would do is I created a system where I would let everybody win. So I had the hard money guys who was putting up the 80,000. Then I had the rehab that I had to come up with and closing cost. So everyone who I would fund, I'd say, hey, just put 20 or 30 aside for me. And when I get a deal, you could put up the other part of the money that I need that the hard money's not putting up. And then I'll split the deal in half with you. So you get 50% of the profit plus your money back, and I get 50% of profit for finding the deal, putting together, managing the whole project, and everybody won. So when people would come to me and ask for money, I always ask them, what are you going to do with the money? I want to know what you're going to do with the money, because a lot of times, people aren't that great with money, especially the first time you get a large chunk of money. Most people, it goes through their hands pretty fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I watched so many people mess up that I said, hey, you know what? Let me create a contingency plan, right? So I began asking my guy, hey, so what are you going to do with the money so I can understand? He says, man, I'm going to go back home and buy some property. So I'm getting to understand, what he's doing so I could, see where he was. And, he said, I said, okay, why would you do that? And he said, man, you don't know? I said, no, I don't know. He said, all right, let me show you. So he went online live and started showing me property that was available for sale to anybody who wanted to buy for 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I said, are you serious? He said, yeah, man, I'm serious. I said, bro, I'm going to pull up on you. He said, man, people always say that they never show up. So, when I see it, I'll believe it. I said, okay, no problem. So at the time I had about 3 deals working at the same time. I said, let me finish, doing what I'm doing. Let me finish organizing and making sure. What was crazy was I was very much in Lac City. Though I was making a good income, I was making high income.
Recording in progress.
Flipping multiple properties a year. I still was driving from Fort Lauderdale to Orlando 3 times a week and back. So if you don't know, if you're not from here, it's about a 2.5, 3-hour drive. So I would drive 3 times a week to Orlando and back so I can make, everything happen. So I can make sure, my contractors were on point, make sure that we're showing up. At that time, I wasn't as sophisticated. I was learning how to do what I was doing, but I wanted to be present almost every day. So, yep, man. So I said, let me finish organizing what I have here. Let me wrap up these 3 that I have and make sure that, they're going smoothly as I expect. And then I'll pull up. So when I finally bought my ticket a couple months later, I said, hey, I'm coming through. I bought my ticket. He says, yeah. Call me when you get in the city. I said, all right. So I flew, up there, drove to the biggest high school I could find in the area. And I texted him, hey, here's my location. He says, man, I can't believe you came. My God, you're here for real, man. What? So, yeah, so he pulled up on me, and, I got a longer story than that, but I'll keep it short.
No, definitely, bro. That's nice, man. Just to, I'm kind of going through that same thing where it's like I want to step into my next or step into that big thing, and focus on, what's going to get me to the next level, being that where I am now. So I get you 100%.
Sony, when you said those margins in there, how much was the rehabs? Was this during a time where the foreclosures were high, when the rehabs weren't like fixer-uppers, they were just like foreclosures and you just went in and grabbed them? Little rehab needed to be done and huge margins?
So, and it's still that way. I remember when I pulled up to the city, I was supposed to deal with one guy, but the one guy that my guy introduced me to, it didn't work out. So I was there for 3 days the first time I flew there. So I spent the next couple of days just calling around, trying to find someone to work with, to give me something ASAP. And so I finally found a guy, and I bought my first 2 deals in the city. One for 6,200, a 3-1, 1,100 square foot house.
Wow.
I bought it for $6,200. And my second one, I bought both at the same time, $6,300. So one for 6,200, one for 6,300, and I bought them both. Spent about 10,000 getting them ready, and rented them both for $650 a month.
So when you're buying these homes, right? Are you going through Realtor.com, Zillow, and going straight to a realtor, or are you going to the city to get these properties?
No, so I have multiple different strategies, but usually I go through a realtor.
Okay.
I go through a realtor, and it's a little. I go through a realtor because I have to teach them what my strategy is for them to implement that strategy.
Like REO almost. You purchase it as an REO.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, so like I said, there's more than 20 plays in real estate, and there's even more ways to acquire property. I acquire property anyway. Wholesalers, MLS, fixer uppers, handyman specials, um, um, you know, anything. As long as it's legal and they want to sell it to me, I'm buying.
So I'm talking about.
So is that so those first few properties is that something that you still hold on to, or did you get rid of them like around that same time?
So no, so I built a portfolio. The first year that I went there, I purchased 72 units the first year.
Hmm.
And what I began to understand at the time is that there were certain infrastructures that I had to put in order to make everything work. So the next year, I kind of slowed down, bought some more. I ended up building a portfolio size of about 131, 132 units. But about 130 units that I built a portfolio, and then I ran certain issues like property management, backups, employees, and management issues and certain things. So I built it, and then I sold it, and a couple of years later.
Mm.
Hold on. So I got a question. How did you scale from 2 properties to 72 properties? Like, what did you do? What did you use? Who did you go through? Who did you find to make that happen?
That's a great question. So the short answer is creative financing and investors. So leverage is a huge thing. A lot of uh, I don't want to say our people, but a lot of people um, are scared of debt, right? A lot of our people are scared of debt. We've been taught to use debt to purchase things that cost us physical pain, physical labor, and money um, from our effort. So a lot of people don't allow themselves to dream bigger than they can work to pay for it.
Mm.
But one
That
of the big, yeah, but one of the big lessons of the wealthy is learning and understanding how to use leverage. Leverage is doing more for you with less from you.
I seen something earlier. It said, use money to buy money to make money.
That's fine. That's fine.
Use money
100%
to
true.
buy money to make money.
That's
Because yeah,
fine.
like you said, everybody run from debt. They rather have the car note, the mortgage, and they rather pay off all their debt. So they feel like they're out of debt, so they're winning.
Yep.
When you're really winning, when you use the debt to make money. So
Yep.
I'm in the process of doing something like that now. I looked at a 6 unit earlier, did a walkthrough. Everything looked good on it. Um, so now we go on to the next part, as far as electrician coming in and plumber and plumbing company, whatever. But yeah, so if
So
that's the goal,
so
That's
Sonny, so oh,
yep.
my bad. Go ahead. You about to say something?
That's
no,
beautiful, King. No, I was just telling King that's beautiful. Every little bit counts. Every forward step, 1% better every day. Every progress counts. We celebrate all
right,
that.
right.
But really quick, Mike, before you go, so what King and Sony is saying is so important. So many people are so quick in a rush to pay their house off to have no debt, and what they do is when you just let your money sit in a bank, you can't outsave inflation. So what you do is, which I'm talking to the people who actually want to build wealth, is when you have that equity in your home, right? And you have that saving or that 401k, because we already know what happens with 401ks once you let it sit too long and you get it once you retire, right? It's better to get that debt to accumulate more assets instead of letting that debt just sit. Because one of the things I tell people all the time, yeah, your house is worth 500,000, right? Until we have a market setback, right? We have a reset. Now you lost all that equity, and if you actually needed the equity to pay off debt to save yourself, you no longer have access to that money.
100%, 100%. I just feel it very important at this point to communicate a very clear caveat. We have no investments to sell. This is not financial advice. We
Correct.
are looking to educate our potential partners on what we do for entertainment purposes only.
Definitely. I do have something else. So a lot of my smaller investors who I speak to a lot about my other investors, such as Sony, me and King started talking recently, and other investors I have in other states. Their fear of investing out of state is they don't know any contractors, they can't watch the property to make sure everything is going good. How can you put those fears to rest and make them feel a little more comfortable doing that? And what's a strategy you use so you feel comfortable actually investing out of state?
Man, that's a fantastic question. So the first thing is I want to say, hey, you guys responded and says, hey, I need this book ASAP. So I went and put up a webpage called getthemoneymap.com. So it's just a coming soon page, but if you go to getthemoneymap.com, put in your information, I have someone from my office reach out to you and schedule a one-on-one call. We're going to create a community and we're going to educate people, on what we do, in case you want to do it yourself or in case you want to partner with us in what we're doing. Now, I said that to say that risk is contingent upon one thing predominant, and that's education. So people who are afraid to move forward is because, or who have fears is because there's no light. Where there's darkness, people perish, right? So when you don't have the information, you don't have the confidence to move. So in my business, I don't allow anyone to partner with me or to invest in me, if they don't understand what I do. Right. I need you to understand. Don't invest anywhere with anyone if you don't understand. What's happening. Right. It's very important you understand how to answer the questions that you have. So there's nothing wrong with having questions. There's nothing wrong with not knowing. But what that's supposed to do is, create the juice. Give you the juice to want to go find out. So here's my fear, right? I'm afraid that, hey, if I do it out of state, so what's the issue? So listen, the whole world moves this way. Everyone with money, right? The top 10%, we already did those numbers, right? To be top 10% income earner in America, you have to make 150, right? To be in legacy nation, which is the fourth geography, there's 100 million or better. There's less than 3,000 people there. But that's because they learn these things, right? They learn to find the questions and get the answers. But the simple answer to that is a good property management company. And that was one of my issues. One of my issues is I didn't have a good property management company at the time. So what did I do? I went and built my own. So we have Quality Living PM. You can go to qualitylivingpm.com, stands for property management, and go to the investors tab. And I wrote a book that says the top 10 questions you should ask your property management company before you hire them. So that will give you the answers to the questions you have about understanding, okay, so how do I make sure my property is taken care of? How do I make sure my property is not sitting, in the marketplace without a tenant? How do I make sure this thing's not costing me money instead of making me money? Does that answer the question, Jay?
Yeah, no, that answers the questions definitely. One of a bunch of answers I have, for personal things. Also, I tell them, like, you got to do the research, man. You can't rely on gurus and different people to do it for you. Sometimes you got to take the risk, right? I took this several times and it turned out fine, right? You got to be able to go out there and figure out how to do it, especially when you see somebody else do it, right? Your proof of the pudding is, okay, I saw somebody else be successful, so
Right.
it's not impossible for you to do. You just got to figure it out, right? I think today's society, everybody's like, I want to skip the process, bro. I want to start.
Nah.
I want to skip the process. I want to make my $1,000 a month so I can create cash flow, and I want it to be perfect with the contractors. I want to be perfect with the management company, and I'm like, it doesn't work like that. So that answer was great.
For sure.
So Sonny, man, so everything sounds good, right? But even with what we're talking about now, what has been some of your some of the troubles you've run into with investing in an out of state place like this, or dealing with low income properties? Have there been any major issues that you've seen has been recurring?
The politically correct answer to that is hell yeah.
So
Gee, let me know. Heck yeah. There are traps, there are pitfalls. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are afraid of making mistakes. A lot of people are afraid of failure, right? But the point to success is to fail until you get the answer, right? The point of success is to fail until you understand what's going on, right? No one's born knowing. Every master was once a disaster. Nobody knows everything, and no one's born knowing anything, right? So we have to begin to take the steps, and it's crazy because as adults, right, we're like, man, don't do that. You might fail. Don't do that. It might not go good, right? Don't do that, right? And out of love, some of our people try to protect us and stop us from heading a certain direction. But you didn't do that to your kid when he was trying to walk.
Right. Or ride a bike.
Or ride a bike. You didn't say, no, don't ride a bike. You might hurt yourself. No, don't try to stand up. You might fall. No.
Yeah.
Right. And that segues me right into why I'm building, the money map and getthemoneymap.com, because the number one proven way to be successful in history. Do you guys know what it is?
Well, felling your way to the top, never giving up.
Invest in yourself.
Those are all good guesses, gentlemen. All good guesses. But the number one way to guarantee success, historically, from the beginning of time, is being an apprentice.
I like that.
Going straight to the source.
I like that.
That was fire.
Right? So my goal for
I
getthemoneymap.com
definitely agree with that.
is to be able to show you behind the scenes. All of my members are going to be able to see behind the scenes. Hey, here's what we're running. Look at our failures. Hey, look. I just bought this crib, so I'll give you one of my biggest failures, right? So I go into the city, right? And I'll give you a few of them. I go into the city and I'm trying to go, right? So I buy my first two, get my first two going. So I bought 6 more at one time, right? When I bought 6 more at one time, I made the assumption of thinking that I understood that the way I do business back in Florida is the way that people do business in a different area. And so I went and hired a contractor who said he could take all my work. And I wired him 30 grand up front so he can take care of 6 properties for me so I can get moving. I never heard from him again.
Wow.
Yeah, I felt that disaster before you even said anything.
I already knew that was going.
Right? So, a lot of people want to go and skip the line and go figure it out themselves, right? But you're going to get punched in the mouth. You're going to get kicked in the face. You're going to get stomped on, right? Listen, you're going to get kicked in the nuts, right? Listen, you're going to get beat up out there. That's the process, right? Now, I've paid as much as $125,000 to sit in a room for 7 days to learn from experts. And when I went out to go execute what I've learned, I still got punched in the mouth. I still got kicked in the face. I still got stomped on, right? So learning and being an apprentice does not eliminate failure. It just allows you to learn from them. And if you can learn from them, you could mitigate your risk, right? To put this in an illustration, I tell everyone, hey, you got to kiss 1,000 frogs before you find your prince or your princess, right? What does that even mean? So when you're out looking for what you're looking for, you need a grant writer, right, for your nonprofit. right? Before you find a good one, you got to go kiss 1,000 frogs, right? So while you're out there kissing 1,000 frogs for that one grant writer, right? You kiss the first one, boom, it bites you in the lip. Man, some people tell that story for the rest of their lives. Man, I went up there and kissed
Yeah.
that frog, man, it bit me in the lip, you know, in that deathbed, frog bit me in the lip, right? You got the other guy who go out there, you know, he'll kiss the frog will bite him in the lip, and he'll tell that story for a year, right? The next year he goes back out, then the frog pee on his white shirt. Man, first the one frog bite me in the lip, then the one, you know, bit my white, you know, peed on my white shirt. You know, then he kissed another one, then they gave you a wart. Man, it you know, bit my lip, then it peed on my shirt and gave me a wart, right? If you're doing it once a year, right, you kiss 1,000 frogs to find your prince and your princess, right? In a 30, 40-year career, how many frogs you kiss?
Oh, you're gonna go through a
So
lot.
you went through 40 frogs if you're doing one a year and complain
Yeah.
about it for the whole year,
Yeah.
right? So a lot of people have the rules, right, that is causing them to waste a lot of time, waste a lot of energy, and waste a whole entire lifetime. You know what I mean? So I'm the kind of person when I'm looking for my princess, listen, man, I'll go kiss 1,000 frogs a day. You know what I mean? I'm out there, you know, one. And here's what happens. When you're going through it unemotionally, when you're going through it as a process, you know, you kiss one frog, right? And the one bites you. God, that did hurt, you know what I'm saying? But then you learn that lesson. Now I see which one, okay, the ones, you know, after a few times, I start seeing, hey, the ones with the black dots, those are the ones who bite you, right? It peed on my white shirt. Oh man. The ones with the stripe, the long stripe down the back, that's the one that pee on me. Okay, all right, right. So after 100 or two, now you don't even have to kiss those frogs anymore. You already recognize them. You see them for what they are. But you gotta go out there. You gotta make the mistakes. You gotta kiss the frogs. You gotta get your bit lip. You gotta get the wart. You gotta get your shirt peed on, and then you gonna live. I have a question I ask my kids every time they're afraid to do something. Did you die though? But did you die?
Yo, that was a dope analogy, bro, for real.
No, 100%, bro. You know what's happened sometimes? People start to analyze things too much, and you get the paralysis by analysis to the point where you're just overthinking everything and you can't even move. And you be like, yo, didn't you start a business a year ago? Yeah, man. Did you do the logo? Nah, I'm still trying to figure out the logo. Did you write the business plan? Nah, I'm still trying to figure out what to say in it. And you're sitting there 5 years down the line, they still talking about the same business they never started or that investment that they lost, because you lose more than you. It's better to make a mistake and lose, because
Right.
if you don't try, you actually lose more money in the long run. That 30,000 is nothing compared to the profit you probably made.
There's no losses, Jason. Only lessons.
Yeah,
And you
You make a
learn.
move, you either win or you learn something.
100%.
So
You only lost if you stop going.
so Sonny, so when you say like there's a wart or something on a frog, how does that compare to like an actual deal that you made that stood out that was like, man, I don't know if I should step into that anymore.
Okay, so I'll give you, the last example I gave you where this guy took my 30,000, right? Now I've learned, hey, I can't send nobody any money up front, right? So
Okay.
now I take more control of what I have going on. So now, hey, I'll order the dumpster myself, right? Hey, I'll give you a percentage of the job. So, now I have systems where, my guys go out there, they have GPS on their phones. I have systems now where if it's the moment you show up on a job, you got to clock in. I got to see where you at on the GPS, right? Now, once you get there, you clock in on the GPS. I need to know what area you're going to work on today. And I need 3 pictures of how you started the day, right? And as you're working through the day, I need 3 pictures of when you're done with the day, right? So, you talk about different levels of management, right? So, my guys send me 3 pictures of where they're working for the day right before they start the day. At the end of the day, they send me 3 pictures of how it looks then, right? Men lie, women lie, numbers and pictures don't, right? So I want the proof. I want to see what's going on. So now, I mitigate my risk because I don't expose myself so much. Make sense?
Yeah.
So now, when you're talking about the guys like the contractors that's out there working on a property, these are your employees, or you still going through like another company, but you still track them same way as if you, in a sense, own them?
Both.
Mm.
Both. So if I hire a contracting team, the head guy's going to be the guy who sends me all that, right? He's going to clock in and he's going to give me his GPS. I want to know where he's at, or somebody who's going to be, on that, on the grounds. And I want the three pictures, before you start. And I want the three pictures at the end of the day, every single day. If that's part of my contingency, if you can't adhere to that, I can't hire you. We can't work together. So I
Wow.
have guys who I train internally, who work for me. But let's say if I get a barrage of 20 houses at once, my guys could handle maybe 7 at once, 8 at once. But the rest, I gotta give those out because I can't let money sit. I can't let those houses sit because every day they sit, it's costing me. It's costing me in taxes. It's costing me light bill. It's costing me the water bill. So I can't let houses sit. So I have to hire out sometimes. But now I know how to mitigate my risk, right? So I have, hey, here's procedure number 1, here's procedure number 2, here's procedure number 3. Can you adhere to these? If you could adhere to these, we got a deal. If you can't, I'll go on, and look for somebody else.
Now, do you feel like that system you've created could be passed on to anybody else?
Yes,
That's what it sounds
yes,
like.
yes.
Again, like I'm not a real estate guy, but it sounds like I could follow this process if I was to get into it. I could learn from Sonny, get the GPS, all that good stuff that you said, and I can manage my business about the same way as long as I stick to the plan.
Yeah, that's the whole point. I'm a numbers guy. So while people are watching the news and going through the motions and the emotions, I'm not saying don't watch it. I'm saying I don't watch it. So I keep informed. I read. I try to understand and get to the root of information, but I don't allow myself to be swayed by the emotions of the air, right? So so I'm a numbers guy. I go look at the numbers to understand, hey, what's going on, right? What's happening, and it's because of the numbers right now that I explained to you guys last time I was here on the money map, which is why I want to do this. I want to free, I want to free 1,000 people in my lifetime. I want to have 1,000 apprentices who I put on who can independently go to this without.
Yeah, man, that's fire. That's fire.
Yeah, that's what's up, man.
Appreciate you.
Will it be boots on ground training, or is it going to be more of a online training than they work in their city, or you'll actually have people come to Toledo or wherever you're working at the time to get boots on ground to learn from you directly?
In order to sustain a boots on the ground type of system, it's going to have to cost, right? Because I'm not going to, at this point, I'm free. At this point, I do this because I want to, and I do this because I see the need for it, but I don't have to do this, right? So I'm not going to come from a free place where I don't have to do anything and commit myself to something that's going to cost me or aggravate me. So in order to do that, I would have to build the infrastructure and the systems to do that. I haven't completely decided yet,
Yeah.
but I might do a school, where I have people come out for 6 weeks, once a quarter. That's one of the classes I paid. Another class I paid 50,000 to be there for 3 days. That's how he ran it, right? He had a whole city and built a whole infrastructure, had buses, and we were there 3 days from 7 a.m. to midnight for 3 days. And he was pumping us with game. And in the middle of the day for 4 hours, we would go out to actual properties and, give an estimate and have a contract that tells us how close or how far we were. So I've been through those experiences, and it's good to have. It's very good and necessary to have. So I may at some point in the future, but the truth is a lot of people aren't even there yet.
Yeah.
Right. The first goal of money is freedom. So what I want to do with the money map is I want to help 1,000 people get free. And then from that freedom, then I might be able to find some partners who want to do some businesses with me where, we make a couple million. I might find some partners who want to make a couple of tens of millions with me every year. And I might have some partners who want to do a couple of 100 million. I might have some partners who want to do 1 billion or more, right? So I want to give this out and and cherry pick the best of the best and partner with them.
Definitely. You got to pay to play though, man. You can't expect $1 million dream and get it for free.
No, definitely, and I feel you with what you said as far as people not being ready. I think the money map has to be the first thing. The money
Yeah,
map got to get out there. That needs to be pushed more than the real estate because obviously we all know the mindset beats
right.
the actual physical properties and everything else.
Yeah, but
Man, that's a great point.
it also, my bad, Sony, but it also goes
No, no,
together.
go ahead.
It also goes together with the money map because at some point you got to get that money working for you in order to get
Yep.
out Lac City.
That's facts too.
Yep.
Definitely.
Hey, hey,
100%. That's a great point you made. But that.
hey, real quick, shout out to our watchers on YouTube and Instagram. Shout out to my man Alonzo Hall, the insurance brother, stopped by, and my man Rael. They said salute. They loving the content, man. So yeah, if you got any questions for Sony or any of the guys, put your questions in the chat. Hit that like button if you're feeling this content, and we're gonna keep it going. If you've never seen Sony before, if you never heard Sony before, you in for a treat. We just scratching the surface right now. So so let's keep going, fellas.
So, question for you: Tell us one major lesson that you learned. Outside of like you already kind of gave us one with you gave it to do the money. He ran off on it, but something that like a lesson that you learned from investing in Florida versus investing in Ohio. How do those markets compare, or how do they differ?
They don't. The major lesson in that, great question, by the way. The major lesson in that is, know your market,
Hmm.
right? I'll give you another big failure of mine before we corrected it. I went and I got a deal on a huge building. It had 26 units in it, right? And it was a great deal, dollar wise, but I did not have the infrastructure to execute it at the time the way that I wanted to. Then I end up getting it together, but here's what happened. I bought the property, and within 30 days, robbers came and took every copper pipe in the building.
Wow. Wow.
I know they were stacking.
Every copper pipe in the building, right? So there are certain things I didn't know. There's certain things I didn't understand. There's certain things, right? I had to get the information. So I end up replacing it with PEX. PEX is just a plastic tubing that I didn't even know. The other thing about another thing that I ran into is winterizing your properties up north. Right, I live in Florida. We get 3 winters. We get 3 winters at 67 degrees per year. Right? So I know nothing about winterizing properties, right? When a property's vacant over the winter, you got to flush out the water lines so the pipes don't burst, or else when it turns to ice, it's going to burst the pipes, and then when it thaws out, the water's still on, it's going to leak in the basement. Big headache, a lot of money, right? So had that happen a couple of times as well. I had to learn that, replace with PEX. So PEX is just like a expandable plastic tubing that you can replace your entire piping with. So we end up doing that. But it's just how do I say it? Einstein. That wasn't Einstein. That was who was my guy who made the light bulb?
Thomas Edison.
Oh,
I mean,
Edison.
It was really a black dude. Thomas Edison just took the credit.
Yeah, no problem.
Just a disclaimer.
Hey, I wanted to go back right quick. Hold on. I want to go back to when Sony said he want to help 1,000 people, right? Why do you want to help 1,000 people?
Legacy. At this point, I'm no longer playing the game for cash. I'm not playing the game for money. I'm playing the game for legacy. 100 years from now, I want my family name to be the Rockefellers and the Carnegies.
Yeah, I only asked that because, like, I don't have a number. I want to help as many people as possible. So
Right.
I just want to see if we had the same reasons on why we wanted to help people. Like I've been helping people, and I'm not a millionaire. So when I become a millionaire, I'm gonna do way more. Like I tell people all the time, my goal to become a millionaire is to help other people become millionaires. Like, you know, so like that's like I'm a born winner. It's my purpose in life to win and help other people do the same. And I've been doing that without the money or the certain things. I've been doing that before I had property. So once I get to the different levels and different places I'm gonna get, then you know it's a game changer for everybody. You know what I mean, and not just everybody, but everybody who want to win. Because I'm only working with the people that want to win. Everybody else, if
Everybody
this not
want to
what you
win.
want, then you go watch yours win. You know what I mean? You go watch yours win, and you know that's cool. We appreciate the you know, pats on the back, you know, the salutes, and you know, I'm proud of you and all those different things like that. But everybody can't go. So
No, 100%, 100%. You know, I'm trying to keep my conversation short. My wife tells me I'm very long-winded, and I am. I can get into explaining down to the details, so I'm trying to. But
heard that
you know,
before.
I grew up. I grew up. Long story short, you know, I was 16 when my mom bought a home, and I had my room for the first time, my own for the first time. And you know, you would think that you know that's the great story, the end, right? But the problem that started to happen is that my mom would complain about all the bills and bills. And so I went out, you know, got a job, and you know, gave her my check, and you know, I was satisfied with that because I was tired of hearing the complaints about you know the bills. But after I gave my check after a few months, you know, it didn't stop the complaint about the bills. So at a very young age, you know, I decided, you know, look, first of all, I got to figure out what this money thing is because I'm not living like this when I'm 40.
Right.
I'm not doing that. I'm not, you know, this is a terrible feeling at my age. So I can't imagine living like this for the rest of my life. I'm not doing that. And so, you know, I'm pretty sure there are other people who feel that calling in their soul. Like, yo, I don't want to do this anymore. You know, I don't want to run out of money before the month run out. I don't want to have to tell my people I ain't got it. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying, not be able to deliver for the people who count on me, you know what I'm saying, because of any reason. So, you know, this is the real reason for the money map. You know, I want to reward the people who feel the calling in their soul and want to respond to them.
Man, that's deep. I appreciate that.
Very deep. Yeah.
I just said something about that recently. Because I could hear like from a while ago my mother saying bills, 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 right? He just said that. That's like mad people mothers, right? Hearing that in the household. And I just said this recently, like, damn, I ain't get it. Like while I'm running around doing whatever I was doing when I was a teenager, when I was younger, my mother keeps saying bills, bills, bills. I didn't understand it at that time because I ain't had no bills. But right now, my current life, and I'm paying the bills, I'm like, damn. And I told my mother too, like a couple of days ago, I said, Ma, I ain't get it when you were saying it, but I get it now. I get it now, man. These bills got to get paid, man.
Yeah, I was talking to moms too, and just because me and Jason was having a conversation as well on making some moves, you know what I mean, getting out of our environment, you know what I'm saying, making a big change where we could kind of take some of the pressure off of ourselves, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, what I've learned from speaking with Jason is that if we keep ourselves in this box, we keep ourselves in our environment, more than likely you won't get out of it unless something drastic happens. But until that happens, then it's like you're just going to be stuck in the cycle. But
Mhm.
what does that look like? Does that look like moving to a whole different state? Does that look like moving down the street? Does that look like cutting people off? You know what I'm saying? Getting a whole new job, whole different career. What does a big move look like? What does that feel like? Um, I don't know where I was going, but I just want to kind of share that just because that's just
Should
that
do
was
all of
going
it,
through my
man.
mind. Yeah,
Do all of it. Cut people off. If you don't like where you at, do something about it. Get a different job. Move to a better environment, like where I live at now. Like, you know, I don't. If I hear the fire department or the ambulance, I know it's a car accident. Now, if I was living where I grew up, I know somebody got shot. I just I just know that's just what's going on. So you definitely got to move, and you need to have peace, all those different things like that. But also have a plan, because if you don't know where you're going, you don't know what you want to do, you don't know what that look like to you, then you're gonna be running circles. So like me personally, I have a plan on like right now I'm doing real estate full time and I'm working on my nonprofit that I'm gonna launch next year. So I'm doing everything. That's why you might see me at different events with different people because I'm building my network. And if anybody know anything about networks, you got to build those because the people that you don't know, you don't realize that you need them until you need them, right? So you build your network and then you go through whatever you're trying to do. You're trying to grow something, build something, or scale something. These other people they're already where you want to go. They already been there. They did. They help other people do it. So that's why you do that. But um, the more of what I've been saying is I'm building all my different things up. I'm lining everything up. So when I do take that leap or I do that drastic change and move, like it's done. Know what I mean? Get one more property here and I'm moving. Building my house from the ground up and I start fresh from there. Like here, I love my state because everywhere I go, somebody know me, especially in my city. But I want to go somewhere where people don't know me, where I just like a regular person and I could just build from the ground up. You know what I mean? So that's goals. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
That's definitely
That's fine, King.
uh,
Okay, King with the goals.
yo.
That's why I think the money. That's why I think the money map is so important because it teaches you at the ground level, right? It's not trying to trick you. Hey, invest all this money and then you'll get this outcome or you'll make this amount. It's like, nah, bro. Save your money. Figure out in Lac City what you want to do, and then you can gradually go to each different level or location, as you put it, and then you're able to grow through a process and not just through, like King said, guessing or not being prepared to elevate. Because I think the growth is what hurt most people. Because think about it, if I make 20,000, 25,000, 30,000, 35,000, 40,000, I'm able to manage that and grow with it. If I go from 30,000 to 70,000, I'm gonna be stuck because then now you're gonna be thinking at a whole different level, living a lifestyle you can't afford, and now you're back at ground zero, especially if you're in the same environment around the same people doing the same thing consistently. That's why Lac City, you figure that out, you move to the next level. Bro, the money map
It
is definitely key.
it could be a good thing though. If you go from 35 to 70, if you change your mindset
Of
and
course,
stay where you've been at as far as
of course.
living wise, because once we get some more money, we get a new car, we get new furniture, we get all the basic shit that don't matter.
Yeah.
Now, if we just stay where we've been at, stay down to come up, do that for a year or two or three, and now like the next 3 years later, you just you was living below your means. Now, when you level up, now it's like damn, now it's a drastic change. Like you could get like certain things done, pay down debt, get a house or get a building, something that's gonna pay for itself to where you can live for free. Because like we've been saying, once you living for free and the building is paying your mortgage, now the rent or the mortgage that you would have been paying, you saving it. You can save that for the next property.
Yeah, that
Talk to him,
education before
King.
the growth. That education before the growth is so key because when most
Right.
people they say, "Hey, when I get the money, this is what I'm going to do." It's like, nah, bro, it don't work like that. You
Yo,
might
I'm
think it
on
works
that
like
right
that.
now.
Yeah, it don't
Yo,
work
I
like
get the
that
money.
because if
Man.
you don't educate yourself, when you get the money, you're still not going to be educated because now you got to react quicker now because you have the money. It's better to
Right.
plan while
That's
you
true
don't
too.
have the money, and then you say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Put a plan together instead of getting the money and then trying. Oh, I had a plan. Nah, bro, that Mercedes look way better now that I didn't plan for it than it did when I was planning for it. You know.
That's
Yeah,
this
that's
is
the
this
best.
is this is why we need a copy of that money map.
100%.
Yo, like
So listen, right now in the chat, everybody who's in the chat listening right now, if you ever had some money and you say you're gonna do something with it, but you end up doing something else with it and you didn't know where that money went, say me.
Me,
I'm
me like a bug.
Hey, I ain't gonna say it. I'm just gonna type it in the chat.
Hey, I was supposed to go buy some gas. I'm going to go buy some food real quick.
Right?
Real man.
man,
Um,
Right.
listen, my money's spent. I'm waiting on some money. Whenever I get it spent already, because I already know what I'm doing. I'm gonna
so
go get some fucking buildings.
Yeah.
so Sonny man. So jumping back to the marketplace of Toledo, do we feel like Toledo is still kind of that baby in a sense when it comes down to places to invest in? Do you feel like very soon it's going to be overloaded with investors, or are you trying to take over the whole thing yourself?
So
Yeah.
So it's not a question of feeling to me, right? Like I said, I'm a numbers guy, right? So if you go to, so I'm a fund manager, right? I don't know if I mentioned that last time, but I'm a fund manager. What that means is I have a SEC registered fund where I welcome accredited investors to invest in what I'm doing, right? So I take anywhere between 25,000 to millions from anyone who's an accredited investor and has the cash to spend, and I invest for it. So you can go to mysecurestream.com and you can download the investor kit, and I have all the numbers, have the proposals, have everything as to why Toledo is that spot, right? And you can look at it for yourself, and you can take my blueprint, and so maybe I'll meet you over there, or maybe reach out to me. But it's only for accredited investors. If you're not an accredited investor with me, if you're not an accredited investor, which means you make at least $200,000 a year as an individual, $300,000 a year as a couple, or have a net worth of $1 million or more, that does not include your personal home. So those are the people that I work with right now. But here's the problem: people with money keep getting money because they make the right moves, right? All the team people who have money have teams, right? I'm part on money people's teams, and so this information doesn't get out there. So right now, I'm bringing my team to you on getthemoneymap.com so that you can begin to get the information, right? Three things. When you're in Lag City, you got to do three things. Y'all remember what are the three things you got to do to get out of Lag City?
Was it get passive income, or is that once you get the passive income county?
Save, passive income.
Mindset, saving, and
You're
action.
mute. You're mute, Sony.
No, I'm here. I'm listening. So
Oh, okay. I
so
thought
just
you
so
were.
you remember, it's about beginning the process to get out of Lag City is an activation. You've just been playing the game small. You've been taught to play the game small or not to play the game at all. So making the decision to get out of Lag City is the activation. So in the activation, you have to do three things. And all you have to remember is this word: increase. Increase your learning ability. Increase your knowledge. Get informed. Get educated. Invest in yourself. Right? Number two, increase your ability to earn. Make more money. Number three, increase your ability to borrow. Become lendable. And when all three of those things converge, then you can begin to invest into level two or passive income county things where money's going to work for you.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm taking notes. I got you.
I want the book. I want the book.
For sure.
100%.
I'm working on it. Go to getthemoneymap.com, and I'll keep you guys updated on when the book is coming, when the community is coming, so you guys can have access to all the information that we're going to put out there.
So
The information, the team, the book, all that.
all right. So in order to invest with you in Ohio, you got to be qualified. But you got everything in place. You got your whole team out there. You got your contractors. You got everything. You got access to capital. You got everything an investor would need, but you got to qualify in order to get in the game.
Yeah, you don't have to. Yes, you have to be an accredited investor to invest with.
Okay.
Right. So my goal with the Money Map is I want to create partners. Right. I want to educate you so I can create partners.
Got you.
Right. I want to put you on game. I want you to understand what we're doing. I want you to see behind the scenes. I want you to become financially free. I want you to understand what that means. I want you, to deal with victimhood. Right. I want you to deal with that. Like, increase your ability to earn. You know what I'm saying? You got to get the knowledge, right? It's a whole curriculum that I have in mind that I've given to people individually in my life. They say, hey, Sony, how can I, so I say, okay, boom, go get this book. Okay, boom, now you go do that. Now go do that. And every time they reach out to me, I just, for the past 15 years, I've just been coaching people and just giving the game away, and helping them. And I'm like, hey, you know what? If I systemize this and put it together, I can still do the same thing, and help other people as well, figure this out. So,
Right.
So let me know if I missed it while you were speaking. But is there outside of those three things, right? To start, is there any way to invest as someone that's not making $200,000 to $300,000 a year?
Anybody can partner. Anybody can partner with anybody.
Okay.
Right. So, I partner with people who are not accredited investors all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It just looks different. So it's a different process. It looks different. And again, you have to be educated on what that looks like. Right. If you're educated and we have a conversation on what we're going to do, then we're forecasting, we're strategizing, right? I can strategize with you. But if you don't even know the first thing to speaking this language or having a conversation, I can't even partner with you.
Mm.
So that's what's missing in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm. And I get why you're saying that. And when we first spoke, I asked you, and I think Mike kind of asked the same question. A lot of people are talking about investing in Ohio, right? So, let's be fair and say you're not the first one that heard it. There was actually a group of people here in our town that went out there by the busload and went and,
like a month ago, right?
Yes, sir. And went and purchased some properties and did the thing. I also follow a couple people on Instagram. Last year, there was a guy that I follow. I've never done business with him, but I follow him because he's real estate investing. That's his content. But he got into it with some of his mentees that say that they invested and they went out there and then he took the bag and da-da-da-da. And then I didn't choose sides, but I was just getting all the information. But what it sounded like was it was a complete misunderstanding on the mentees' behalf, not understanding what they were getting into, and then things kind of came up missing. I'm not saying it's right, but I saw that there was a break in the there was a language barrier. You taking fresh people off the street and you taking their money and you putting them in this, but they don't fully understand the process. They don't fully understand what's going on. So I could see how that could create a problem, is what I'm getting at.
For sure. For sure. And to be completely fair, everybody don't keep it 100. Everybody don't keep it above
100. Yep, exactly.
You know what I mean? So I'd rather you spend $47 or $100 a month, spend 6 months and decide this ain't for me, than to say, what, I'm ready to invest. And then we go into it and, we get punched in the mouth and you're like, you did this to me.
Yeah, right.
I'm not interested.
Right.
I'm not interested.
You spent, and every investment, even with a solid plan, investments could go left. Even with a solid plan, it could go left. So as an investor, my philosophy is not that I'm taking losses, but I'm not putting up money that I'm not willing to lose.
Correct.
You get what I'm saying?
Sure.
Because I don't know what's going to happen, and it's a lot out of your control. And I'm not trying to scare people or deter people, but I'm trying to prepare people.
Them.
Exactly.
Scare them.
It says scare them.
Scare them.
No, I mean, real quick.
You need to know that everybody does not have your best interests at heart, number one. And number two, people don't do what you expect.
Right.
They do what you expect. So if you don't know how to inspect, if you don't know how to have this conversation with me and you're in your feelings, I tell people all the time, I get more refunds than the IRS. I used to have a whole bunch of tax stores, and we're charging anywhere between $200, to $800, for accounting services and people will come and complain. I don't want to hear it, bro. You can have it. I'll fire my clients fast because I don't want to deal with the headache. It's not. It was never about the money. It's about providing a service. It's about building a relationship. A lot of relationships don't become truly profitable until a couple of years in, right? So the stress is in the front end, the money's in the back end of every relationship. So this is my way of saying, hey, man, if I partner with some people, I'm going to take the stress out by educating them first and make sure I have these conversations and make sure they understand and make sure they get it, right? And they're willing to invest in themselves. If someone's not willing to spend, $100 a month and invest in themselves, someone not willing to buy a book, I'm not doing business with you.
Say that. So all right, here's my question, and I'm back quiet, but I know I asked you this offline before, but I want to, and I think Mike kind of alluded to it as well. We talked about why Toledo, why Ohio, and again, the thought process of if we had a busload of people go down there last month, and this guy's on Instagram talking about going, is there enough money to go around out there? Is there enough properties? Is there enough demand, for those properties to go around? Is my big question.
That's a fantastic question. I'm not a person who believes in scarcity, right? Scarcity meaning not enough to go around. Because this system that I built in Ohio, I can go somewhere else. And like I have like 9 other markets after Ohio to go build my infrastructure.
That was my
So
next question.
it's not about the market necessarily. It's about understanding what's going on. But to answer the question about Ohio specifically, I just had some investors put up $250,000 and they wanted to see my infrastructure. So we flew out there Monday morning at 6 a.m. and I took them around, showed them my office, introduced them to the team, showed them some of our properties that we've done already, showed them some that we're buying right now, and we're supposed to close on this week. Showed them my whole infrastructure. I went and sat down with the
Section 8.
Yeah, they don't want to call it that anymore. I'm trying to remember what she said. It is that, but they have a different name for it now. More politically correct name. I got to think about that term because I just learned it on Monday.
Rental assistance specialist. We'll roll with that.
Let's go with that. So I sat down with the rental assistant specialist, right? And we had a great conversation, and he explained to me, hey, listen, we have 25 people a week. 25 people a week come through these doors, and I can only put maybe 2 or 3 of them in a house.
Due to the fact that there's not enough houses.
There's no inventory.
Nice.
There's no inventory to move into ready, or there's no inventory that as far as properties available.
So when someone is going into public housing will do an inspection on the property to make sure it meets a minimum standard, a minimum quality. So there aren't enough property that meet that standard for the people who want to move into those properties. So it's plenty of room, and that's in one city. Right.
Right.
That's just one city, right? So if I go and sit down with everybody in every city, it's insane. We live in the United States of America. As I said last week, outstanding mortgages on property is about 36 trillion today. There's 36 trillion outstanding mortgages on property, and about 50% of properties are free and clear. So we're talking about $100 million worth of property, bro. Like, there's not enough of us doing this to make a dent. It's so crazy that you have the larger hedge funds like BlackRock, Vanguard, State Streets. Those guys are buying single families and renting them. Like, there's so much opportunity and not enough educated people to take advantage of all the opportunity that there is.
Nice.
Yeah, I hate the market is saturated crap people say all the time. Ain't no market oversaturated, bro. There's millionaires coming up in each market, every new millionaires every day, bro. So there's no such thing as saturated. It's what separates you from everybody else.
Listen, anybody. There's nothing special about me. You know, um, I'm a Haitian kid, right? My first 9 years, I was born in Jersey, but my parents took me to Haiti for the first 9 years. I lived in Haiti my first 9 years, right? Moved to Jersey till I was about 15, and then moved to Florida and been there since. We were, lower class, poor. Like, I live on South Orange and Halstead. I mean, listen, there's nothing special. There's nothing. You just got to be willing to do the work, invest in yourself, and fail until you get it right. There's nothing else. There's nothing else to say about it.
By the way, if
Anybody?
you was born in Jersey, you from the tri-state, bro. You from the Northeast, man. I ain't
Yes,
trying to
sir.
hear Haiti or Florida, bro.
You know what I mean? You from the bricks, man. You from Jersey, man. Yeah, I
Yes,
want to go back to
sir.
what y'all said, man. It goes back to the education, like we said before, because and not just the education or educating yourself or learning and going to these different seminars, all these different things, but it's about applying what you learned. And like somebody else said about seeing other people doing it, you could do it too. I mean, like it's this girl that's in South Carolina. Like she did, I've been following her like for like years because I was doing credit repair first. So I connected with all the real estate agents all over the United States. So if I got somebody that's from Connecticut that want to move anywhere in the United States, I know an agent in those states. But she's in South Carolina and she's killing it. Like when I say she killing it, I mean she killing it. She did like 15 to 17 million dollars in business last year. And she
Wow.
do all new construction. She got her whole team. She got the credit repair person. She got the lender. She got everybody. They got a whole team and like the only people that she deal with, and she going crazy. Like she got 8 properties. So been doing real estate for like 5 years or something like that. But she gave her daughter 2 properties. Like she going crazy. And she a single mother, man. I'm tired of these people talking about this, that, and the third. Listen, she's a single mother. She got like 4 kids and she going crazy. Like, ain't no excuse.
Yeah. You just don't know. So that infrastructure is the infrastructure that we have, and I want to bring that entire team to the money map for $100 a month, maybe. I don't even know yet. Right now, it's not even up. It's just the website is up. We can just have a one-on-one conversation. Now somebody's schedule will be over the summer. We'll have a one-on-one, see what it's like, see where you at, see where you're trying to go. You know what I'm saying? In 12 months, in 12 months, what's possible? Right? I mean, at least you can
Shit,
get a
12
700
million.
credit score
Nah.
in 12 months. Like, come on now. So I said I used to do funding. I still do funding, right? I have my funding guys, who get people 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, a half a million. I have some funding guys who do only medical stuff, getting them 2 million, 1.5 million in funding, right? And the biggest problem they have?
What's that?
What is it?
They can't find enough people who want money to expand.
Mm.
The
Yeah,
banks are
man,
trying to
hit
give
me,
this
man.
money.
Yeah, I'm right here. Tell him to hit me up, man. I'm right
The banks are
here.
trying to give this money away. You know what I mean? But it's not responsible to just take somebody and to say, hey, here's some money. Now we don't do that. So
Right.
that's why we're doing the money map, so we can have the education, see where your mind's at. And if you're trying to build, you're trying to grow, you can follow, a 5-year plan, a 7-year plan, a 10-year plan to retire. Then, so let's have a conversation. If you're trying to, hustle, or, if you're just trying to hit a lick, this is not the spot for you.
Feel it. Feel it. Man, so Sonny, man, what's next? Do you have any projects that you're working on? Any deals that you get ready to close that's like major, or what's next for you is Toledo market?
Brother, we're closing them every week.
Hmm.
We're closing them every week. We're closing them every week. We're working on them. So my wife and I are working on a show right now. We're gonna put on, a rehab show. We're doing so much inventory, have so much inventory that we're going through all the time. So we say, hey, you know what? Let's do a show about it. So I'm going to do a show where, I'm going to put like an entertainment side of it on YouTube, but people who are part of the money map eventually, you're going to get the numbers. You know what I mean? So if you want to go see the show on what we did, the families who went there, and the property and the history, then we're going to have that on the show that on YouTube or somewhere else. But if you want, the numbers on how we did, and what we did, and things that we went through, and understanding that stuff, I'm going to put that as content. I'm going to put on the Money Map, getthemoneymap.com. So man, we got a lot coming. We just warming up. We just warming up. We're excited. We're happy. There's so much opportunity. There's so much. Right now the country's building infrastructure. Guys, we're in the wild, wild west. Like, there's so much that's available for. Listen, man, I'm not gonna stop if I keep going.
Hey, Gerard, man, what's popping off in the comments right now? I can't see him on my side.
So
what's the questions, y'all?
So
where we at? We on YouTube?
We on YouTube, bro. We on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. We everywhere. We lit right now.
Oh, wow.
So King, they loving you in the chat. They saying salute.
What they say?
Salute King Darius.
King Darius, man.
Oh, my bad.
King Darius, man. The only person in the world, my name, man. Only one. Only me.
Somebody.
One and only, man.
Somebody say you gotta be in sales because you talk that talk.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Listen, man, I'm just changing lives, man. I ain't selling nothing, man. I'm just helping people win,
Yeah.
If I get paid on the back end, cool.
Yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat, man. If you got any questions, put them in the chat. We'll be glad to answer them. But really just a lot of comments and a lot of people
that's dope,
giving
man.
good feedback.
Shout out to the chat.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Do we have the possibility to bring anybody up as far as like on the live right now?
Oh, somebody that wants to speak.
I could. Y'all trying to make me work, man.
You can invite them, right?
Yeah. See who has a question, man.
Y'all trying to make
For
me
Sony,
work.
bro.
So we gonna
I see Alonzo in the group chat. Alonzo been going crazy. I see him now.
I know Lonzo.
Alonzo like that, man.
Yo,
He got mad information.
you know Lonzo?
Yeah.
I just plugged Mike with Lonzo earlier. Lonzo is the is a financial guru in his own right. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put the link. In the chat. If you want to get on, if you want to hop on, you gotta hop on. But we gotta be quick and please be professional, man. Don't come up here crazy because I'm gonna kick you up out of here.
Respect my house.
I'm gonna kick you up out of here. There you go. The links in the chat. If you want to come on, ask Sony questions directly, or any of us ask questions. Here's your opportunity, man. So I know I don't know if you said it or not, but how many units do you have out there in Ohio, Sony?
So I built a portfolio that had 130 units.
Nice.
Yeah, but we're going for 2,000 units in the next 10 years.
Okay. Okay.
Fire.
That's a huge portfolio.
Wait, hold on. What in the next 3 years? 130, but something in the next 3 years.
We're going for 2,000 units in the next 10 years.
2,000.
You gotta set the bar high, man. Listen, man, we're gonna shoot for 5,000, man.
Let's go. King Darius in
man.
the house. Stop playing with me.
We might hit 2,000 by mistake, but the goal is to hit 5,000.
Let's get it. Talk that talk, King Darius.
Hey,
light the people up. Get the people going.
So I got Alonzo joining too, but real quick, and I know we talked about it, but let's can we dive a little bit deeper in Ohio? So what if I wanted to invest, what would you say is a good number to start with? How much are the properties, and like what's the average return on investment? And
that's a great question, man. That's a great question. So the average, when I first started out there, my average investment purchase and rehab was about 25, 30,000. Purchase and rehab. Rents at the time was about $650 to about $800. So ROIs, you're talking about 40%, 30, 40%, which is really high. Like that's not normal, which is why I love the area. Right now, I'm all in around 50,000. Purchase and rehab, 50,000. But what I say is, so what I try to teach and what I try to share, or what I do, in other words, is you got to learn how to mitigate risk. So if I have one, right, and I get my one, I borrow some money, I get 50 grand on my credit, I get my one, and then my tenant's not paying rent. What happens?
You jammed up.
You got to pay the
You
rent.
got to pay for it. Yeah.
You in trouble.
Yeah.
Right? But so what I say is, minimum, I try to get everybody to understand to do at least 4, right? So if I get 4 now and one of my guys not paying rent, what happens?
You still can roll. You can still roll a little bit.
What I always try to get people to understand is, you're trying to get to 10 as quick as possible. You know what I'm saying? Then when you're at 10, you could breathe and you could, take a moment to understand what just happened. But you want to get to 10. You want to have, that's my suggestion, is you want to get to 10 as quick as possible. Don't start with. I don't think starting with 1 is wise, because you're fully exposed at that stage. Right, you want to do at least 2, 3, minimum 4, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying, to mitigate the risks and manage everything that's involved.
Definitely.
Nah, dope, man. Hey, real quick. So my man Lonzo came on. Lonzo, I want to give you the Shannon Sharp introduction. But you know what? I'll save that for when you come on the episode, man. But shout out to you, Lonzo.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
You basically already answered my question in terms of what to start with. Should it be, single family or multi? And it sounds like you're saying have 4 doors at least.
Yeah, you want to start with 4 doors. So if you don't have the money to start with 4 doors, don't start. Get some more education. Put the money in some dividend stocks. Not financial advice. I'm just saying, let the money work somewhere else or park it until you're able to take an educated risk that will manage, your potential losses.
All right. And then another thing I realized, I just wanted to say, I see all them books. So when you see that, it's real.
Appreciate you, brother. We got a lot to share, man. We got a lot to share. Money is not religious, but it is spiritual, right? Daniel chapter 1 says, "I, Daniel, learned by books. In the year of King Darius, I, Daniel, learned by books."
All right.
King Darius. You know what I mean? King Darius.
Yes, sir.
Come on, I know you know my name, baby. Relax, calm down. Yeah, say it again so they can hear you, baby. I told them, baby. They know. They get it.
Yo, thanks, Lonzo. Lonzo, we're gonna catch up and we're gonna get you on the on one of the next coming episodes, brother.
Yeah, no doubt, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you. Salute.
Yes, sir. Appreciate
brother.
I meant to comment on his question. My bad. I don't know if he's still there, but hey, so I've always approached real estate investing. So when I started out, there was, wholesaling and, fix and flips or whatever, right? You know the categories. But I noticed as an investor, especially a new investor, you get your mind set on a particular thing. And what I noticed was that I was turning down deals because it wasn't what I was looking for. To the point where if you're not, what was I going to say? If you need to know your exit strategies, period. Point blank, period. So if I'm I start out looking for a fix and flip, but I come across this house that might not work as a fix and flip. But can I use it as a buy and hold? Or can I assign it? Or whatever. Once you understand your exit strategy, you'll know whether or not, and you got to know your numbers, know your exit strategy, and you'll know whether you can pull a trigger on it or if it's a deal or not.
100%.
All right.
100%.
I just want to make sure I wasn't
Yeah, for
bugging.
sure. So, I think we're talking some very advanced. This one feels a little bit different than the previous one that we did, when we're talking about, understanding the process, understanding the energy that goes in the money map. But I just want to bring back to everybody that we're talking some advanced things right now. We're talking, high level stuff right now. But there's nothing to get intimidated about. It's just people are doing this. People are doing this. People are living this way. It's just you may have never heard of it before. You may have been warned about it before, and that's all fair. All I'm saying to you is get the knowledge.
Yes, sir.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never have to move on it, but if you have the knowledge, you can have the conversation, right? What I say is, the more languages you speak, the more money you make.
Make yourself profitable.
So English is a language, but so is real estate. So is stocks. So is schools. So is business. So is marketing. So is sales. So there's a ton of languages to learn, but don't get overwhelmed by trying to get the whole cow, down your throat. Pause. Right? But let's take one bite at a time.
But you know that a knowledge not applied, it doesn't mean much, and that happens a lot because most people get the knowledge, right, and they go to Sony, they'll go to a seasoned investor, and they still want to do it their way, right? They don't understand when they get into any of our industries, right? Don't reinvent the wheel, bro. Like it makes absolutely no sense to reinvent the wheel when you have a mentor who's done it before you. Learn to do it. Learn the steps, learn the process, and once you learn the process, then you can create your own process once you have it.
Period.
Correct, right? I mean,
Period.
I see it all the time. They'll go to you, Sony. They'll ask you for all this information. Go out to Toledo, do this, and they'll still do it their way and fail, and then blame you. And I think that's what Gerard was talking about when he was talking about the people from, I guess they were in Cleveland or whatever. Like they go through their own steps and process, thinking they know more than the actual expert. And if all the listeners out there, we run into it a lot in our industry as a mortgage broker, man. You hire somebody or you get with a realtor or whatever, bro. Just learn the way people have already succeeded, and then once you learn that path, then go on your own.
You gotta build a team, and like Sony's saying, he already got a team. He got the team out there, so it's plug and play once you got your team. But if you don't trust your team, then what you here for? What we talking about?
What's the point?
Yeah, you got to trust your team, and everybody on that team got a job to do. It's a lot of moving parts, and it all got to come together for your greater good. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't trust your team, then you might need to do some more research. Maybe you're not asking the right questions. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Like Sony was saying, he put together a SOP and said, listen, if you can't do this, then I can't deal with you. You know what I'm saying? As far as, your team and your boots on the ground. So same rules apply to the first time home buyer, the first time investor, right? Just you got a plan, you got to think it through. And trust your team.
Yes, sir, fellas. Anything coming to an end? I'm sorry.
Yo, we could go all night, Mac. Mike, we could go all night, baby.
Yeah. I'm building a team right now. Well, I actually been building it for years, but I'm, making them steps towards where I'm gonna be.
Yo,
currently.
I don't know if I told you. I think I told you this behind the scenes, King. But I'm extremely proud of you, brother. You work hard.
Thank you.
You go hard for real, man. So I'm definitely excited to see, where you go next for sure.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I'm definitely excited to see when Sony gonna drop that book. What's the website again, Sony? What's the
Y'all go
website?
Get
to
the money, man.
themoneymap.com. The book, I'm expecting to drop it in the fall. So hopefully by mid-September, we're going to drop it. 30 days before, we're going to do a countdown, let everybody know it's coming. But, you know, we have all the meat. Just got to get the potatoes and the veggies around it.
Nah, for sure, man.
Yeah, man.
You should do pre-orders, man. Pre-orders, man.
Or
No,
pre-order.
we got to talk, King.
You gotta do the pre-orders, man. I did pre-orders before I dropped the book, man.
We got to talk, King, for sure.
I sold a whole box at the book signing, the first box. So
Yo.
pre-orders is better because you giving people like you letting them know once you get it, they got it. Like you know what I mean? Like you're gonna send it to them. You're gonna get it right to them.
100.
You know what I mean?
or we
I
could
know
just
that,
do
King.
we could just do the secure the bag exclusive. You feel me?
Oh yeah.
Just
Yeah, we could do that too. We could do that too.
For sure.
I think I'll be looking for a nice event out here, you know, to bring you out here, Sonny, bring you to Connecticut, man, bring you with Jason up here.
I'm excited, bro. Can't wait.
Man, that'll be nice, most definitely.
I'm coming to Miami, man. Matter of fact, I gotta go pick up a bag from Jason, so I'm coming down that way.
Oh yeah. We all gotta get you know part of that bag. Listen, man, I'm willing to take the trip down there to Miami.
Bro,
Right,
hey, bro, I already showed you all what's gonna happen if you come try to take my bag, bro.
Oh no, I ain't trying
We
to
ain't
take
tryna-
nothing, man. You could just
yeah, we ain't tryna take
just
it.
send mine on Zelle.
No,
I
if
don't
you
wanna
even
take
ask for it in person, I told you what's gonna happen already.
Hey, man, look, like you said, we a family, man. Family share. We invest together. We make money together. You feel me? We make your money together.
Yeah, that sounds good on the podcast, brother. But you tried to threaten me earlier.
Yo, shout out to Alonzo. Shout out to Barbara. Barbara been in the chat all night. She says she's so proud of you, Sony.
That's my baby. That's my wife.
That's the missus. Yo,
No, I thought that was my mother. You said Barbara. I was about to say, what's her last name? It's my mother's name.
yeah, Dash. Yeah, she been in the chat with us all night. Thanks for hanging out with us. We got to get her on because she do a lot of work too.
Sure.
We got
Yes, sir.
we got to tag her in
Yes, sir.
for sure.
So, fellas, we got the moneymap.com. Sonny, anywhere else you want people to go look for you or find some more information? I know you gave out a couple of websites earlier, as far as the investing. Any last websites to check out?
You know where we are right now. I like I said, I never planned on coming out so early. Jason twisted my arm and said, "Hey, we got to do this now, bro. Like you
Yes,
can't
sir.
wait till it's let's go now." So we'll do something together real quick. Get the moneymap.com. But that put in fill in the form, and I have somebody from my office reach out to you and set up a one-on-one for now, and then we're gonna keep building.
Yes, sir. Fellas, Jason, King, Gerard, you guys want to drop any links, anywhere that people want to follow you? Just give out some information. Anybody.
I ain't saying that. All right, listen, King Dairies Bay on Facebook, Making Dreams Reality business page on Facebook, and the it's not an S, it's a $. King_Dairies_Bay on Instagram. I'm also King Dairies Bay on LinkedIn, and you can find me on YouTube. Just put in King Dairies Bay. You can put in Making Dreams Reality on YouTube. Oh, I'm on TikTok too.
That on everything.
If you
But
just
Jason-
type in Jason Benton, you can find me on all platforms. But my main active one is IG at applywithmrbenton.com. Also, you can go to Foxtrot Mortgage Group on Instagram. Find the website for Foxtrot, mtggroup.com. That's fox.com. That's the website of the company. We have a lot of information, a lot of educational information on there for wherever you live in this country. Just go there, get the information. Have any questions, you fill out the forms, you'll get directly connected to me or somebody on the team, and we will help you, man. Let's go.
And so, by the way, guys, shameless plug. Tomorrow, I am having a small first-time homebuyers webinar. I'm going to put the link in the chat. You can follow me on all my pages, Gerard Gibson. I keep it simple. I'm gonna put the link out tonight for that webinar tomorrow, first time home buyer webinar, on the Gibson method, on how I get homes sold, get my buyer in these homes in this crazy market. Click the link. We're gonna talk about that tomorrow, and I'll catch you later.
Yes, sir. Hey, man, y'all can follow me, find me on pretty much any social media platform under Mike Evans Benton. I don't got no special name or nothing like that, just me as your boy. But folks, that is a wrap. Hold on. Every time I do this, my screen changes. That's a wrap, man, on another fire episode of Secure the Bag, where 4 entrepreneurial cousins and 1 bald real estate genius just gave you the keys to Toledo and maybe financial freedom too, man. Huge shout out to Sonny for coming back and blessing the mic again. From breaking down the money map to showing us why Toledo, Ohio might be the cheat code of real estate investing. This episode had more gems than a jewelry box, than a jewelry store on Black Friday. If you're still sleeping on overlooked markets after this, that's not a nap. That's financial sabotage. So do yourself a favor, rewatch, take notes, apply the blueprint, and don't forget to check out Sonny's Money Map program. And if you're serious about getting your coins in order, as always, like, subscribe, and share with your people. Even that cousin who's been thinking about real estate for the last 5 years. Until next time, stay hungry, stay humble, and always secure that bag.
Mike, that was fire.
My uncle had told me that I was the one. I played the shit smart, now my bracket and dumb. Lil' shorty had hit me, said she wanna come. Her dresses is black, but she not a nun. I'm so Pasadena, cause that's where I'm from. Some bangers, some hoes. Them with guns, they scheming for riches, they playing it numb. I'm second, I wins, cause I'm second to none. Look, what the you think I do it for? Do it for? Hey, looking in the mirror, you the go, you the go. Hey, I've been out here grinding 24. So in the mirror, you the go, you the go. Hey, what the you think I do it for?